Hello there. It's time for Most Things Kenobi.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Most Things Kenobi, a podcast about Obi-Wan Kenobi and all things Star Wars. I'm your host Lauren.
And I'm your host Leanne.
And this week we are diving into some Rebels stuff.
Yes.
Finally.
Perhaps the Rebel?
Yeah, the ultimate character from Rebels, in my opinion. My favorite character from Rebels, for sure.
Yes. Hera Syndulla. Queen.
Queen Bee.
Head bitch in charge.
Yes.
Literally, HBIC. Of it all. Over multiple decades.
Yeah. Oh my God. Seriously. One of the only characters to survive like the entire breadth of the Star Wars saga.
To make it to the end, as I like to say. She made it all the way to the end. I mean, impressive. She has impressive stats.
Yeah.
And how refreshing is it to finally see a Twi'lek that isn't a stripper? I mean, speaking as a female, I guess.
Yeah. I know, all throughout Clone Wars, and I think Rebels, but I'm not sure if they did this in Rebels, all the pinup art in the barracks and in, like, bars in the background, everything, it's always, like, a naked Twi'lek. Do you say Twi'lek or do you say Twi'lek?
Well, I interchange. I'm really never even sure. I
Yeah.
say Twi'lek in my head, but then it comes out Twi'lek when I'm speaking. So I'm probably going to interchange it.
Yeah, me too.
Just accept it, everybody.
I can't commit.
Also, side note, I am suffering from an illness, so if I sound nasally or a little flatter than usual, my apologies. It happened.
You've been through it. You just need
this week has been rough.
You need some tea and some fluids and some naps.
I've been pushing all of it. It's just, man, I was doing good yesterday and I had a setback this morning, but here we are. We're here anyway, and we're here to talk about Hera because, damn it, she is amazing.
Yes, she's such a badass.
I mean, what's your favorite thing about her? If you had to pick one. I mean, I know that's hard.
Like, apart from her beautiful voice.
Oh, we'll get to the voice actress because, wow.
I don't know, just like... It's kind of what Jenny was talking about when she was on talking about Padme. Mm-hmm. Hera is a great mix of her, like, masculine and feminine energy.
Yes.
She stands in her power in this way that is so fucking refreshing. And she's just very confident. But she's also very loving and soft and, like, can have these really maternal, I suppose, moments.
I was going to say that.
And I just love that about her. She's kind of like a tomboy, for lack of a better term. I don't know if there's a better phrase for that nowadays, but like, you know, I was always called that growing up. Everyone always called me a tomboy because I liked to play sports, but I also like to wear dresses and high heels. So like, it's really rare to see characters that have that duality. It's usually like you're either one extreme or the other in a lot of media because, you know, we rely on stereotypes a lot of time, which is maybe not fair. And so, like, to see Hera be both those things was just really beautiful. And I really loved that.
Well, you took my answer, so thank you.
Oh,
Once again, we are space twins. No, but you said it. It's the balance of the masculine and feminine. She can be maternal and a protector and a caregiver, and at the same time absolutely annihilate, get the job done, seal the deal, fight with the best of them, strategically think with the best of them, and have this duality that's balanced. She's a great character because of that. But I think you don't see it just in one instance. It's several instances throughout every season of Rebels, and I think it just gets better and better and better, and she suffers horrific loss.
Yes.
So she's just like our other heroes in the Star Wars universe, where there's this incredible drive to make things better, and at the same time suffering massive losses, and it never weakens her spirit. She perseveres like all the rest that we love.
Yeah. Well, she was raised under that condition.
Yeah.
Like you see in the Bad Batch that even as a small child, her family is growing up. Well, and I'm sure before that, because we see in the Clone Wars, they do the Innocence of Ryloth episode. They have the invasion of Ryloth. And I think Cham, her father, is in those episodes. But I don't think they show Hera in those episodes. But just a few years later, there's the Bad Batch. And you see her father and mother trying to survive diplomatically under the Empire, even though they know it's very wrong. And Hera was she's growing up around that, and she's working with her uncle to kind of like do smuggling runs and stuff like that. So it's like from a very young age, she had the courage to stand up, to not bow to an oppressor, to not crumble under something, knowing that it's wrong. She still stands up for it, even though it puts herself and her family at risk. And later on with the Ghost Crew, it's just amazing. She's such a great character. It's interesting.
Hera has been marked at various pivotal moments throughout the Star Wars history. She is recorded, like the Ghost, her ship, is shown in Rogue One. So she was there for Scarif. Mm-hmm. She's been involved in Hoth, Andor, and then the Battle of Jakku. All of this is documented. So she has been at the forefront of some of the most major Star Wars battles in the galaxy, in the history of Star Wars. That is fucking impressive.
Yeah. Well, it shows what a good pilot she is.
Yes. And I mean, we'll get to that at the end of this episode, talking about that. But I mean, it's her fortitude, her will to keep going. I mean, and of course we know she meets Kanan early on, right after the Empire basically forms, or at least takes up reign, we'll say. Yeah. And they made a 1-2 punch themselves, even before they became lovers.
Yeah, I want to read that book. It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, and it's on my list. So apologies to people who have read it and are waiting for us to talk about it. We're not there yet. There's so much stuff to digest. Yeah. It's hard.
It's very difficult. It's a challenge.
It is, but I mean, then they form the Spectres, which we come to know as our little group in Rebels, the Rebels television show. Another Dave Filoni genius project.
Yeah.
Which, surprisingly enough, I'll be truthful, I wasn't looking forward to watching Rebels. I didn't like the animation style at first, but I got used to it.
Same. Mm-hmm.
And then I found a lot of episodes very moving.
I did too. And same, because they canceled the show we did love to make this new show. So Clone Wars fans might be a little bitter about it at times.
Yeah.
But the truth is, it's very good. And
it is.
And it gets better. It's kind of like Clone Wars, where the season 1, I was kind of like, okay, like I'm watching, but it's not really grabbing me that much. Mm-hmm. And by the end, the last couple of episodes, the last season, really, I was just hooked. It was riveting.
Do you have a favorite Rebels episode? I know I'm throwing all these questions at you randomly. But I'm just thinking of them as I go, and like...
yeah, I just haven't researched anything. I do. I actually have a couple. I love the episode, just because I love Hera. I love the episode where she is testing new spacecraft, or she's doing like test pilot stuff.
Oh, yes.
Which I thought was really great. And I love the Loth Wolves, after what happens to Kanan. But like, honestly, the episode with Kanan and Hera, the heartbreaking episode, that is actually one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
It's so moving. For those of you who aren't familiar with Rebels, Kanan Jarrus is, Kanan Jarrus.
Spoiler alert, too. If you're planning to watch it, maybe don't listen to the next bit.
Maybe cut out now for the next 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
He is one of the Jedi that escaped Order 66 and then went on to join Hera and the others in their little rebel squadron, if you will, and try and make things right, especially on the planet of Lothal, where they meet Ezra. Mm-hmm. And Kanan sacrifices himself to save Hera, who is pregnant at the time
Yeah.
with their child, unbeknownst to him, right? She was going to tell him and then never got to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he knew. I'm sure he sensed, right?
I hope so.
I hope so. Makes the sacrifice even more depressing.
Yeah.
But more moving. And then she carries on afterwards, and they have their son Jason, and he's a cutie patootie.
Yes, he is.
He's half green and half blue and half.
Yeah.
He's cute.
He's half Kanan and half Hera. And
Yeah.
he's adorable. That scene, I rewatched it recently when we were preparing to record this, and I like lost my shit. I sobbed uncontrollably, even though I was only watching snippets of the episode, because that moment, and then afterwards too, when Hera is like talking to Chopper, and I couldn't handle it. I was like, we even messaged, and I was like, I can't record today. I'm too emotional.
Same. That we were supposed to talk more about Kanan and Hera together, but we can't because it's too emotional.
It's too painful.
So we're just going to talk about how great she is to keep our spirits light.
Yeah, because one of the things is like they have one of the more open relationships.
They
besides,
do.
I guess like you could say, obviously we know Anakin and Padme, but like theirs was hidden.
Yes.
Kanan and Hera, it wasn't hidden. It was just they had their duty first. And
They did.
I have this thing that Dave Filoni said that I really want to read because it was so cool. Let me find it. So he was giving an interview, and he was talking about the like nature of Kanan and Hera's relationship. And he said, she loves Kanan, obviously, in her own way, and he loves her. And what they both like about each other in some ways is why they aren't completely together. I like that they have this very mature adult relationship that deals with the world around them or what they need to do for other people. But there is something. You might know the way these people feel inside as the audience, or you might hope that they feel like this or like that. It's like seeing two friends of yours get together after a long time, and you're like, oh, thank God.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's like implied affection.
There is.
And obviously by that time in Rebels, they'd already been like intimate with each other, obviously since she's pregnant. But like in that episode, he's asking her, have you given any thought to what we're going to do after the war is over? Mm-hmm. And she basically had said, no, like I never went that way with my thinking. Yeah. Like I haven't gone beyond just what's going on right now. And he was basically asking her to say, like, do you love me? Like, am I important to you?
Yeah.
Like, is this just for fun, or are we actually seriously in love with each other? It was just like such a painful episode.
It's one of those things where like I feel like Kanan was more affectionate and in love with her. Maybe not necessarily more in love with her than she was with him, but she was obviously very focused. Yes. Right? She loved Kanan, but she was very committed to her duty and her role.
Yes.
You know, pilot of the Ghost, leader of the Spectre Cell, eventual general.
I was going to say.
She became a general.
Was she a general, yeah.
So, interestingly enough, another quote from Filoni. We hear in Rogue One, they say General Syndulla, paging General Syndulla.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Like, it's...
I love it. And Chopper,
and Chopper's rolling by
somewhere. Yeah.
Well, there's a debate among fans, like, are they talking about Cham or are they talking about Hera? And Filoni literally says, I can clarify that's absolutely Hera being paged, not her dad. The movie gives that away, but I would rather have all the references be right. Hera will eventually become a general in the Rebel Alliance. So, amazing. She's a general at the time that
awesome.
Rogue One is taking place. And you can see the Ghost, her ship.
Yeah, it's
multiple instances.
There.
Yeah.
Is it in The Last Jedi? Oh, no, Rise of Skywalker?
Yes, it is at the final battle. It's prominent. It's right, like almost dead center. Like you can't miss it.
But I haven't watched it for such a long time. It's not fresh in my memory.
But the fun part is she flying it or is Jason? You know,
I don't know.
It's one of those headcanons where I feel like mother and son are together in that moment. You know what I mean?
I think it's awesome. That's the thing that I love about really good stuff in Star Wars is when it's self-referential like that. The Easter eggs they plant, and they're not like super obvious. You have to really kind of be looking at your background to notice stuff. So that I love that. I love that she's in Rogue One. That's so cool.
And some of my favorite moments in Rebels is when she is going off and doing separate things with Sabine. You never get like Hera's always kind of piloting and leading and looking out from afar and letting Kanan and Ezra do their thing.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, I think there's even like a Forces of Destiny episode of Hera and Sabine at an old. I mean, we see the depot that they go to, or like the storage base, or I don't even know the name of it. But you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We see it in Clone Wars season 7, in fact.
Right, and then it's abandoned in Rebels, right? And it's got animals in it or something like that? Yeah.
Yes, all of the above. But it's nice to see her team up with Hera, Sabine, because Hera and Sabine are they're alike, but vastly different. I mean, we're talking about a Mandalorian, an ex-Mandalorian, but not quite an ex-Mandalorian.
Right.
And an ex-Empire.
Right.
She was a student
at the
Imperial Academy.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
And she blew it all away. She blew it all off and joined a rebel sanction with Hera. I mean, that shows a lot of trust on Hera's part, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Sabine would have to earn that trust, I'm sure.
Yeah. And she stuck up for Sabine a lot and Ezra and trusted her crew. And of course, Chopper.
Who is in Bad Batch, by the way.
Yeah, they've been together forever. So like Leia has R2 until the very end, and Hera has Chopper until the very end, I swear.
Yes.
Headcanon, they go down together. Whenever they go together. That's my headcanon.
I agree.
So Chopper, Hera, and Kanan are the original 3 in the Spectres.
Yeah. Do you think Chopper was very like, you know how like pets, when you bring somebody new into the family, a pet can be very suspicious? Do you think
absolutely.
Chopper was like that with Kanan?
Yes. Knowing how grumpy and passive aggressive he can be, yes. You know he was protective of Mama Hera.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh my god. Chopper is one of the best droids ever.
and it's not because Filoni voices him so appropriately. It's just the arm movements. He's so animated as a droid.
Talking with his hands.
Yeah, he's just like whipping his hands around all the time. Like, God damn it. That's what I picture him saying, basically. Like, fuck, here I go again. Like.
Well, we can't talk about Hera without talking about Vanessa Marshall, who voices her.
Incredible voice actress. And gorgeous.
Gorgeous. Her voice is so beautiful and rich.
Yes. And it really, really gives appropriate character to the character of Hera. Like, I can't envision anyone else's voice other than the tone that Vanessa gives to Hera.
Yeah.
Because it works with her balance of masculine and feminine. Mm-hmm. The way she manipulates her voice into soft and then, like, commanding,
Yes.
things I can't do because I'm not a voice actor or actress, like, that I don't understand but have massive, massive kudos towards. Yeah. Vanessa does flawlessly.
She does, and just like the quality of her tone is really, it adds a lot to Hera, I think. It brings, like you said, it's kind of like, it's hard to portray both those sides without having the right vocal tone, or like the right timbre, so to speak. She just like has this beautiful, husky, rich, smooth, but also it can be very soft and gentle. Yeah. Like her voice is really beautiful.
Yes. I don't know, again, this is like the 50th time I've said it. I don't know how voice actors do it. It's just incredible, like, how they can do it.
Yeah, it's a special skill. Not everybody, and like, just because you can, quote, do voices, that's not the same as being a voice actor. Voice actors have this insane control over their mouth. It's like they have muscles in their jaw and they know how to like move their tongue, and it'll totally change the way they sound. It's insane.
Yeah, it's I don't get it. I don't understand. Let's talk about Hera and her interactions with Thrawn that we see in Rebels, because those are some of my favorite episodes as well, because it's very interesting. Interesting because of how Thrawn is. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
And number 2, her family heirloom that's used against her, but then she gets it back. Mm-hmm. You know, that sort of thing. And I find that all very, very interesting. Like,
yeah. It's really cool because it draws a lot from the original Thrawn trilogy books, because they talk about how Thrawn is an art collector and how he uses art to understand a people, and then he's able to either manipulate or conquer those people. And so using Hera's heirloom against her is like so heartbreaking, but it's such a callback to like Thrawn from Legends.
It's called the Calicori. That's what I was trying to remember, is the name of the heirloom.
Her heirloom? Yeah.
Yeah. And, I mean, in the end, it is returned to her, and doesn't it have, like, an extra piece on it for
she
her?
adds, I think she adds something to it for Kanan.
Yeah. And I think that is a very beautiful addition. But Thrawn is savage.
Yeah.
In a calm, twisted, mastermind, plotting type of way. I mean, we have Palpatine, who's all of those things and savage because of it, but like Thrawn is so calm that it's frightening on a different level. She's able to escape him.
When you don't know like what his long-term intention is. Mm-mm. Like Palpatine, it's all about dominance and being like power. But with Thrawn, it's like, are you just playing the game because you like to play the game, not because you really want to win anything?
100%.
Yeah,
he takes great pleasure in that. That's all I was gonna say.
Yeah, and that's what makes him more frightening.
I think so.
Yeah,
because is there ever an end to his game?
Right.
Probably not.
Probably not. There's no satisfying a person like that.
It's like, let the trapped person dance for him so he can study it more, but torture it a little more so he can study and see what happens. Like, that kind of shit is like,
well, and like, God forbid he gets bored with you.
Right.
Because then what happens, you know?
Right.
Like, it's very interesting and very frightening. And it makes me wonder if there's any possibility, maybe you've heard this and I haven't, because I don't pay attention to any news any way whatsoever.
I don't blame you, though.
Yeah.
It's too much.
Is there going to be live action Hera?
Well, there's rumors.
Because, like...
There's rumors.
Wouldn't she want some revenge, maybe, for Kanan?
Absolutely.
Working with Ahsoka? I don't know. Could be amazing.
If she's going to pop up, it would be in the Ahsoka show, I would assume. But there's a lot of people that are poised to pop up in the Ahsoka show. And I don't know if they have enough episodes. But then again, it's only season 1. So...
True.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a live action. I haven't heard of any casting that would be, like linked to her. Like, we know that Sabine's been cast. We know that Thrawn's been cast.
Yeah.
And Ezra.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But, I mean, boy, I hope so.
Maybe that's the secret they're
Maybe
holding.
that's the secret, yeah. I mean, if they can bring Luke Skywalker in... We could get a Hera moment just the same, right?
Imagine we get Luke and Ahsoka and Hera all together. I think I'd die. I'd straight up heart attack and die.
Cardiac arrest happening over here. Unrelated to my cold. I hope. It's just, that is the power trio right there. Can we all agree?
Right?
Those 3 leaders, the 3 that make it to the end. I mean, holy shit. Well, Luke passes before the end, but Leia is really the only one that makes it to, but all details that, but those 3 on screen, the only thing that would be more cardiac arrest worthy for me is the moment we get to see, like, Anakin and Ahsoka, and possibly throw in Luke that moment I'm not prepared for and I'm not ready.
With a Force ghost, you mean?
Yeah, I'm not ready for any of that.
Yeah.
When it happens, I won't be ready, and I won't be ready to talk about it for many, many days after, because you have to scrape me up off the floor. It's very quite possible someone's going to have to get a shovel and prop me up in front of this microphone.
Giant, like, pizza, like...
Oh, a pizza
spatula.
peel!
Yes!
And my dad has an authentic one.
A couple that we could peel you off the floor
Yes! Is this where we enter in the burnt Anakin jokes to go with the pizza peel? Too soon? I'm sorry. I can't. Anyway! So, Hera is queen. She's a talented pilot. She's basically the mother to all of the Ghost crew. That includes Zeb.
Isn't there... Yes, Zeb is a teenager.
Yes. Literally teenager with Ezra and Sabine. Like,
yeah, he's a
but
grown
he's a
child.
softie, too.
Oh, yeah.
I do love he has... Not to, like, not talk about his character, but since we're talking Rebels, with emphasis on Hera, Zeb's background story of his people was added so much depth to him as a character, that race of aliens. It was great. I loved it. And he ends up getting to go back in the end, which was in question for a lot of the episodes. So that was great too. And Hera was also a part of all of that. Like, I mean...
Yeah, I know. Well, isn't there a moment in one of the episodes where she's sitting with Kanan and they say something like, "It's quiet around here without all the kids," or something like that?
Yes, exactly. Because it's just like Obi-Wan and Anakin are the parents to Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Kanan and Hera are the parents to all of the crew, and that includes Chopper on the Ghost. Like,
yeah.
You know. So, in a sense, they did get to raise a few children.
Yeah,
namely
several.
Ezra and Sabine.
Yeah.
They were the teens before they even had their child themselves, you know. But how lovely of a moment is it that, like, the spirit of Kanan is there with her after he, you know. Heartbreakingly beautiful. But
at least also it's like a confirmation that it wasn't just like making eyes at each other from across the room and like unrequited affection, like,
or a relationship out of convenience because they were stuck on a ship together and had this mission together.
Right.
Like, oh, well, since we're both attractive and we're here, it wasn't like that at all. It was deeper.
It was deeply meaningful. And like Jason is at least tangible evidence.
Yes. Yes.
They had like a more in-depth relationship than what we saw on screen, which I'm fine. They're allowed to have their privacy.
Absolutely.
We saw like lovely, like when they kissed, it was very moving, very emotional. And it's just like, it's nice that there's a Star Wars couple that like, it doesn't end happily. It's very bittersweet, but at least they had that, you know, they had a relationship that didn't have to be a secret and it didn't have to be, it was like their choice.
Yeah. And he's a Jedi, a trained Jedi who didn't give a fuck. Like,
and in the ultimate moment, he was selfless, like a real Jedi.
Like a real Jedi.
He didn't try and save himself so that he could stay with her. He knew that he had to do what needed to be done to protect the rest of his crew.
Well, he wrestled time and time again with the fact that Deepa, his master, told him to run, and he ran, and he never forgave himself for running.
Yeah.
And so in the end, I think it was beautiful that he didn't run. You know, he did it for himself. Like, he wasn't thinking of himself in that moment, but he redeemed whatever personal guilt he felt in that moment as he was saving the ones he loved. Like, in the process of sacrificing, he was able to then right whatever wrong he thought he made. And that is true Star Wars right there. And
it comes full
really
circle.
a sign of a damn good Jedi.
That intro in Bad Batch with him is really beautiful. It's so sad.
There is nothing but pain in Star Wars.
It's really true.
Sprinkled in with a little comforting moment here and there. but it's why it's so good. And
Yeah.
Rebels didn't disappoint.
It keeps us coming back for more, and all it does is hurt us over
That's
and
all.
over.
That's all.
Yeah.
But it hurts so good.
I know.
Cue
Well,
John Mellencamp.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Well, you know that Hera in Bad Batch meets the Bad Batch, but she has time alone with Omega. And so it makes me wonder if there's, all I'm wondering is if there's going to be a live action version of everybody, but it's possible that like Omega could come back in some of the live action stuff.
I think it would be a fan favorite if that happened.
I really like Omega. I think she's
She's
an
interesting
character.
Yeah. We need more.
She definitely has Palpatine's hair. I know she is a clone of Jango Fett, I guess.
Yes.
I think that's confirmed. But what if they blended Jango and Palpatine's DNA and made Omega? Because she's force sensitive. I think. Am I right? Maybe I'm wrong.
No.
I think she is.
I'm more
But she's-
concerned about the hair.
She's definitely
Now that you
got
mention
his
it.
like his Clone Wars shaped hair, like that weird pointy. Like she definitely has that going on. So it's possible. It's possible.
It is possible. We'll see. I mean, there's so many possibilities out there. Well, maybe we'll see a live action Hera as much as we'll see a live action Omega. I don't know.
Well, it'd be really cool to see them together as adults
Yes,
because they met
yes.
as little children.
That's true. It would be a nice coming together of,
Yeah.
you know, a reunion, excuse me, of two incredible women
Yeah.
who, at the time we meet them, when they first meet each other, we don't know the path that's laid ahead of them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's particularly heartbreaking for little
Yeah.
Hera. You see the little girl, and you know
She's a dreamer.
Yeah, and you know and that's the other thing too with Kanan. He's saying to her, "What about when this is all over?" And it's never over. It never ends. Hera is there at Rise of Skywalker at the end. She's still fighting.
Still fighting.
That is really sad to me. But
Well, think about it. I mean, she also interacts with Leia in the episodes in Rebels, and it's like those two to the bitter end are
forgot
still
about that.
Yeah, they're together. And Ahsoka, these three women literally outlast how many wars? It's insane.
Yeah. It's amazing.
So when Hera basically devotes her life, she devoted her life. And you don't step away from that role. Leia never did. Ahsoka never did. And Hera certainly never did. So you got to give respect to these three women. I mean, I know we're focusing on Hera right now, but that's tough to fight over and over and over and over and persevere.
And how would you ever go to quote unquote normal life after all of that?
Maybe that's why they just continued in the role that they were the best in. It's familiar to them, even if it is tough, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to lay it down, especially when there's still people in need. For those kind of characters, they would never be able to turn away from people who were in desperate need of help.
Right.
Once you start down that path, you're never stopping.
That's it.
So-
Yeah, you're devoted. So, of all things that Hera Syndulla certainly is, devoted is one of them. Devoted to her crew, to the love of her life, and their son, and to the cause. I mean, she's an incredible character.
Yeah.
And major thanks to Vanessa for doing an outstanding job bringing her to life.
Yes, incredible.
So when we talk about Hera Syndulla, we cannot ignore the fact that she is one hell of a pilot, right? So
Yes.
we asked in a poll that resulted in 111 votes, who is the best pilot in the Star Wars galaxy? And it was a neck and neck tie.
Who all did you have on there?
I had Anakin Skywalker, Luke Skywalker, Hera Syndulla, and Poe Dameron. Now, if it had allowed a fifth slot, we would have had Han Solo.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But since Luke blew up the Death Star, we figured we should put Luke on the list, right? So, got the
Yes.
two Skywalkers, a Syndulla, and a Dameron.
All fucking good pilots. Like, all amazing.
all worthy of being on this list and
Yeah.
more, right?
Yes.
In their own unique ways. But the winner, by 1%, Anakin Skywalker wins at 42%. Hera Syndulla was right behind him at 41%.
That really surprises me. They're
Right?
so close. That's insane.
Yeah. So, the best pilot in the Star Wars galaxy, a tie, basically. Anakin
Basically.
and Hera. And I really can't argue with it. Two different pilots from two different eras, obviously. And both incredible pilots.
Yeah. All right, join us back here next week because we are going to start it'll be part 1 of a 4-part series, and we're getting back to Clone Wars with this. We are going to start talking about the Mortis arc.
Yes. Each episode within the arc.
Yes. It is a big arc. There is a lot that goes on. It's 4 episodes.
With each of the characters having their own path during this arc that is pivotal.
Yes. A lot happens to everybody. It's crazy, and it is so cool.
It's so well done. A lot of foreshadowing.
Some people feel like it changes their understanding of the Force and Star Wars in general after watching it, but I think it's really incredible. It's a little sad, but so next week we will talk about Overlords. That's the first episode in the arc, and we will deep dive into it because, good God, there's a lot.
There's a lot to cover, but it's worth it.
Yeah. It's going to be great. So join us back here next week for that. So not last week, but several weeks ago before our Q&A session, we talked about the Darth Vader hallway scene, and we asked people what they loved about that moment. And on Instagram, Collectibles You Want left this comment. I feel the same. One of my favorite scenes, and I'm always at the edge of my seat no matter how many times I've seen it. I also ran a poll, a kind of a questionnaire on Instagram asking people what they liked about the scene, and almost unanimously everybody said everything.
Yes, I concur.
They couldn't like pick a moment that was the best because all of it is amazing, and we completely agree with that.
Yes, I can't argue that at all. This is one time you can say all of it and be absolutely correct.
So thanks to everybody who participated in that. That was great.
Yes, thank you. As always, thank you so much for joining us here on the Most Things Kenobi podcast. Remember to follow us on Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player. And don't forget to rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And you can always find us over at mostthingsKenobi.com.
So until next time, my space twin, may the Force be with you.
Always.